Hello, and welcome to Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. If you are not getting the results you are looking for from your digital marketing efforts, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's the host of our show, the local business guy himself, Frank Deming.
Hello, everyone. This is Frank Deming, the local business guy, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, everyone. I hope you guys are having a rockin' week thus far. Today, oh, by the way, folks, I forgot to, I actually forgot to say Happy New Year to everyone. I know we had an episode last week. I interviewed a gentleman that was really intriguing. So if you missed that episode, I would love for you to go back and check it out. It's a very good episode. We talked a lot about marketing for lawyers. Surprise, surprise. And anyway, so just wanted to wish you a Happy New Year. I hope I'm looking forward to really doing something different this year in 2023 with this podcast. Looking at some options. I'm not going to spoil it right now, but sometime within the first quarter of this year, you will see a change with the formatting, with the content that I provide, et cetera, but you still have ultimate value, and that's what's important. So anyway, before it gets out of hand, I just want to at least talk to you about what I want to talk to you about today, and that is 3 things that your website may be missing. I want to make sure that we cover this today and in the first quarter of 2023, because let's face it, folks, your website is the cornerstone, is the centerpiece of your whole marketing efforts when it comes to digital marketing. All right. So we have to make sure that we have that that's 100% that it's on point. Okay. We got to make sure that it is that way, because if it's not, then all of the efforts that we do go wasted, unfortunately, because you don't have everything in gear. So that's one of the biggest hurdles that we have to go over, is whenever we are is making sure that your website, is on point, because again, it's a lot of work that we do to bring you business, and if that fundamental thing is not great, you just wasted time. So think of it this way. It's kind of like you have I'm trying to come up with a random example, and the thing that just popped into my head as an example is, let's say you own a dealership, and it's beautiful, great dealership, and everything is fine. But when you walk in there are no cars. So you advertise, you sent them, you talked about your cars, and you have all of these like stock photos of cars or whatever on video or whatever, whatever the case is. And a bunch of people show up, but there are no cars. So you just wasted all your marketing dollars for nothing, because even though people came, you have nothing to sell them. It's the same way with your website for your law firm. If you're sending people to the website and it's not really structured properly, you just did the same thing. You just sent them there and there's nothing to sell them. So let's go over that. So really quickly, your website is more than just a page on the internet. You got to understand that, okay? It's more than just a page. It is a tool that should attract your ideal customers. That's number one. And it also engages potential clients. It's supposed to generate leads. So if you get there, in other words, generate leads meaning if someone is on your page, that's not a lead. It's only a lead if that person either calls you or fills out a form. So that's what I mean by generate leads. And last but not least, when it's done correctly, it is going to help you, and I'm talking about your website here, it is going to help you build authority for your law firm. And not only build authority, it's also going to position you or your law firm and your team as experts in your field. So let's say if you're an estate attorney, a estate planning attorney, if you're a family law attorney, whatever that field is, whatever your expertise is, okay? Because there's law firms who have a couple of practice areas, but you have an expert status on a certain area. So let's just assume that that's the case here. You're looking for an expert status. This is what your website is going to do if you structure it correctly. Now, here's the thing. All of those wonderful business building activities can actually be lost if you neglect that critical website components, just like we talked about. And I'm going to talk to you about 3 things that your website may be missing. And these are the critical components that we're talking about. Okay. Number 1, title tags and metadata. Such a simple thing. But SEO, I've been talking about SEO on the show very often. I talk about different elements of SEO. Very few times I talk about title tags and metadata. The title tags and the metadata, the most important thing about that is that it actually tells the search engines what that particular page is about. It gives you a snippet of what's it about. And very few, only the ones that are actually doing SEO properly have your title tags and your metadata down to a science. And so that's got to be on point. And a lot of times it's missing. Or if it's not missing, a lot of times what I've seen always as well is that it's not structured for lead generation. In other words, you don't have the title tag and the meta description aligned with whatever keyword you're trying to focus on that page. That's a huge problem. It's almost like it's almost better not to even have the title tag and the meta description. You understand? So that's the importance of that. So that's one thing that's missing, that could be missing from your website, that is probably sabotaging your SEO efforts or your lead generation efforts from an SEO standpoint, if that is. Another thing that's missing, I'm noticing a lot of people doing SEO are missing internal and external linking. Let me dive a little bit into this, so you understand what I mean. A lot of times when you write a blog post, you're gonna have certain keywords that you're trying to rank for on those blog posts, and some keywords you want to have maybe a reference to another blog post that you had, which that's an internal linking practice, or you want to another thing you want to do for an external link is maybe you want to reference an article or something else from another authority site externally. The search engines like to see that you're sharing data and referencing other pieces. So let's say you're referencing some data about something that you're talking about. Maybe it's a change in law for child custody, let's just say, or you want to point them to a article that you were quoted on, let's say, in a New York Times in a New York Times website. As long as it's relevant, you could externally link to that article, and it will be considered an external link. And of course, the internal links, if something that's maybe another blog post that you did that talks a little bit more in depth of what you're talking about in that paragraph, or another internal link will be something that you want to send them to your contact us page. Either way, you want to practice an external and internal link strategy when it comes to your website. You can, and I just gave you blog examples. You also want to do this within your website itself, within your practice pages. So if you're talking, if one of your practices is let's say you're a personal injury attorney. Let's switch up a little bit, and one is slip and falls, one is car accidents, another thing is workman's comp thing. All these things are personal injuries, but let's say on the content on one of those practice areas references something in another practice area within your firm, that you want to link to that page from that current page. It's a little different from what I talked about in blog posts, but it's effective. Now, you also want to externally link in those pages as well if you want. Obviously, not to something that's a competitor, but maybe to a law reference that you want to reference that's on your main page. So it's a very powerful practice that you may want to start implementing for your law firm. Now, last but not least, and this is a very important fact, and this is why I left it last, because I want to maybe spend a little time here. Let's talk about user experience. A lot of websites a lot of law firm websites is lacking a good UX, user experience. Here's what I'm talking about. Things like website speed. Very important for SEO, folks. Website speed. If you have a website that is performing pretty well, like you have everything great, keywords are outstanding, your internal linking, external linking, you have your metadata, everything is top notch, right? But you have a poor speed, you're going to be penalized. You're not going to rank better than a website that has the same information but faster speed. Okay, so user experience includes website speed, usability. How great is it to navigate your website? I've seen some poor things that it really doesn't. A website should tell a story and guide you to the contact us page or whatever your call to action is. It doesn't have to be a contact us page, but the story has to lead you to the call to action. Another thing is mobile friendliness. Mobile is key. Just because your website loads on mobile, how friendly is it on mobile? The user experience on mobile has to flow just like the desktop experience. In fact, it has to flow even better because everything is mobile now. Forget about the desktop. As a matter of fact, when we build websites, we focus on mobile design first. Make sure that the mobile design is tight before we even mess with the desktop design. Why? Because the increased users, the most of the people that are going to find you when they search for your services are coming from mobile devices. So we have to make sure that is top notch. So user experience, mobile friendliness, very important. Modern design is another element that's key. I've seen some very antiquated websites out there that looks like it was made back in the 90s, unfortunately, or in the early 2000s. You need a modern design now to compete with your competitors or your peers that's out there basically taking business from you. So make sure that you have a modern design. And last but not least, and we talked about this a little bit already, navigation. Navigation is key. Your navigation is key. It should, again, like I said, tell a story as to what you kind of lead them to the path of where you want them to go, where you want them to land. Very, very, very important. Okay. So here's the key, guys. If you are not sure if your website includes the components that we just talked about, those are three. I mean, there are more, but those are three very key critical ones. Those are the basis. And if you're not sure if it's not has any of those things, give us a call, 888-416-7752. I'd love to just give you some analysis on your website and just to see how it's structured. So 888-416-7752, or just go to our website. Just go to our website, lbmsllc.com, and you'll see the story of what is trying to lead you to. So, and then hopefully we'll be able to sit down and chat about your business. So, with that, folks, I want to know if you liked this episode. If you do, or if you know of anyone that you think can benefit from something like this, if you've seen some website there that you say, wow, that's exactly what I was telling him. Here's proof that I wasn't wrong. Forward them this episode. Not only that, I would love for you to subscribe to wherever you listen to it. You maybe listen to it on YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. That way you are notified every single time we put out a new episode. So with that, folks, this has been Frank Deming, the local business guy. Until next week, take care and bye for now. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Marketing Solutions for Local Businesses, the podcast where you will discover all the latest and greatest digital marketing tools, tips, and strategies you will need to implement in order to stay ahead of your competition. Don't forget, any links that were mentioned during the broadcast will be available to you in the show notes, so be sure to grab them while you have the chance. Incidentally, if you have any topics that you would like for us to discuss on the show, be sure to send an email to the email provided in the show notes, or click the Contact Us link and let us know what topic you would like us to help you with, and we'll be sure to add it to our schedule. If you would like for Frank and his team to look at your digital marketing presence and give you a free evaluation, simply click the Request a Free Consultation link in the show notes to get a hold of them. That being said, until our next episode, make it a successful digital marketing day. Peace out.